embarrassing. Floyd, you're 50 years old. You're a legend in the sport. I've stood up for you in countless interviews. But you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these.
Well, I think I'm a businessman.
$1 million fight, and you know, I've already in the sport of boxing. I've already made somewhere upwards of $800 million.
You made money. You're gonna make a hell of a lot more money.
The main thing is, I made smart investments, and I still make millions every month.
Just Google Floyd's name and the IRS. All the news is out there. He owes jewelers money. There's back paid rent for real estate in New York. It's clear that he is now part of the no money team, which is very ironic. And why is he doing this?
No, I don't know. Normally, people that are well off don't go back into a sport as barbaric as boxing at 48, X, Y, and Z. That's not normal. But everything doesn't have to make sense to me. It just has to make sense.
Oscar de la Hoya has at last responded to ongoing speculation about a supposed financial breakdown, taking aim at the Money Mayweather image and what he claims is a deliberately built-up illusion of riches. For years, fans and analysts have been impressed by the private jets, diamond-covered timepieces, and the self-proclaimed TBE lifestyle. However, the Golden Boy is now implying that this carefully maintained image may be starting to fall apart. As a result, many observers are beginning to wonder whether the fighter who once helped generate more...
Why are they fighting again? Why would you fight again? Why is Money Mayweather, who has reportedly made up over $1 billion... Now, that doesn't mean you're bringing it all home. That's not net. That is just in terms of revenue, in terms of the gates. The last fight between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather made $668 million. Where reportedly Floyd Mayweather took home, what, 250 of that? So why is he fighting again, everybody says? Boy, people just telling themselves, why would you fight again if you made all that money? Because that means that people don't really want to fight, right? First thing first, we know that at the bottom of the pecking order, the bottom of all the athletic pyramid of success is fighting, right? UFC, boxing, that's the bottom of the barrel. That's the chitlin circuit. Like if you doing that, either A, your daddy was a fighter, or B, boy, you fighting for your life and your circumstances in this world. So few affluent fighters. Like, oh, we have wealth, we have money, we have success. So few just upper middle class fighters. Like, dog, you gotta be from it, the mud. So we all are telling ourselves when we see somebody fight, like, why are you fighting? Oh. So now we're going to the financial, and obviously there are a lot of reports out there that talks about his money. Now, what it doesn't say, it talks about his debt, it talks about some of his liabilities. What it doesn't tell you is his liquidity. What it doesn't tell you is what he has. Now, you don't know what he has. You can guess this. You can say he has these assets over here that aren't liquid. You can say he has this ownership over here. And then you don't know which way to go back and forth. So the guesswork to you and for me, not really the best play because it's not going to be fully informed. It's just like going to somebody's website right now and you going to see celebrity net worth. That's not true. Trust me. I've not met one person that their celebrity net worth is real. Like sometimes it's way higher, sometimes it's...
In a conversation with TMZ, Oscar de la Hoya didn't hold back when addressing Floyd Mayweather's exhibition bouts and his reported interest in returning from retirement for a rematch. He alleged that Mayweather is pushing for another fight with Manny due to financial pressure and a need for a major payout. De la Hoya went on to label Mayweather as dishonest and a disgrace, arguing that the only reason he is chasing such a high-profile event is to secure a big paycheck since his exhibition...
Do you think he's talking this trash because he wants a rematch? Do you think he actually wants...
Absolutely.
You think he wants a rematch?
Look, another reason why he's crawled out of his rock, he needs money.
You think he needs money?
Absolutely.
He's always flossy.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
He's always spending, so I guess...
Absolutely. Look, he's not fighting anymore, so that big money's not coming in. Look at what happened to Mike Tyson. He made, what, $500 million?
Right.
You think you can spend $500 million overnight? Absolutely.
You can.
I doubt he'll ever step into that ring. Floyd's a big freaking...
He called Canelo the easiest win of his career.
Yeah, because he was 21 years old.
Right.
Of course. If I fought Ryan Garcia, who's 19 years old, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna beat him easy because of my experience.
So fight him in his prime, he goes down, you think?
Ah, easy.
What's your message to Floyd?
Stay under your rock, dude.
This perspective suggests that the billionaire image Floyd has projected might function more as a carefully managed persona than a direct reflection of his real finances. De La Hoya argues that the wealth narrative was used as a promotional tactic to draw attention and keep audiences invested in watching him, even if it meant rooting against him. However, he implies
Mayweather never flies commercial. He's only flying private.
So he doesn't own his own plane?
I don't think so. I've never seen a Mayweather plane, like a Drake plane. I've never seen that. Not to say that he doesn't. I don't know Mayweather like that. I've never even met him. So I don't know. I mean, you have a lot of properties. You have a lot of money you're constantly spending.
Right.
I don't know. Remember at one point he said he was buying like the jewelry district building.
Yeah, and they said
that wasn't true.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know this man's finances, but this guy told me that Mayweather is in financial problems.
See, here's the shitty part about actually losing your money when you're on that level and you're, kind of like flossing, showing off. Nobody gives a shit. Like there are people actually praying for you to be broke, and then when you do go broke, that's what people are gonna say. Yeah. Oh well, you should have invested better. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna give him any loans. So now, we might see Mayweather doing.
People will give him some loans.
Maybe.
Listen, he's cozying up to Israel. That's
but
not
the
an
thing
accident.
about it is, he had Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah.
And he was hosting a big, he had Gervonta Davis under his cars, and so that's a like.
Yeah, but
De La
look
Hoya
what happened
does.
to Gervonta.
Right. So if you can sustain that, you don't ever have to box again. But now has to take fights because when you floss like Mayweather, you can't go down.
Yeah.
You got to stay right there because people are gonna peep any kind of chinks in your armor if you're not wearing 3 or 4 big $1 million diamond chains.
Recent court filings have brought fresh scrutiny to Mayweather's finances, with a major Miami-based jeweler launching a high-value lawsuit that has fueled claims his available cash may be under strain. Legal documents submitted in early 2026 state that Floyd allegedly failed to pay a local business more than $1.3 million following an expensive purchase involving 26 high-end watches and 15 gold chains. Adding to the controversy are accounts of returned payments and unsuccessful bank transfers, prompting the luxury seller.
Floyd Mayweather is the one that seems like he needs the money more right now. Our guy, Andreas Hale, wrote a story that is kind of went somewhat viral. That's crazy, the laugh faces. Although Floyd Mayweather Jr. made hundreds of millions of dollars from his professional boxing career and topped the Forbes list as the highest paid athlete from 2012 to 2014, the boxer is said to have been shortchanged and filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Showtime. The lawsuit filed Tuesday, and obtained by ESPN seeks to recover hundreds of millions of dollars, misappropriated funds, and damages resulting from a long-running and elaborate scheme of financial fraud, breaches in fiduciary duty, and conspiracy orchestrated by Floyd J. Mayweather's former manager and advisor, Al Heyman, with the knowing and substantial participation and aid of defendants Showtime Networks and Steven Espinoza. Mayweather, who's 48, says he is owed at least $340 million and cites a complex web of hidden accounts, unauthorized transactions, and deliberate concealment of financial records as the reason he believes he's been defrauded from those funds. Heyman is not named as a defendant in the complaint, which is interesting because I misspoke and said he sued Al Heyman. He's essentially saying that Showtime and Al Heyman colluded to not pay him with Steven Espinoza, but then he doesn't name Heyman in the suit. Very odd. Anyway, it's a mess, and for those people that always thought that Floyd Mayweather had financial troubles because of the money he owed to the IRS, because of the terrible, terrible business and real estate investments that he's made, and apparently some of these have gone under, and he is owed back rent, or he is owing back rent, and he is delinquent on a lot of payments for a lot of different things right now. These things seem to have added up for Floyd, and now it's pretty apparent that not only is he doing these, bank robbery style exhibitions, but it looks like he absolutely needs to do it, which is very, very sad. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Floyd Mayweather as an individual outside of the ring, but I never want to see athletes have their money mismanaged or mismanage their own money so badly that they go broke in retirement, and it looks like that's kind of what's happening. And here's a snippet from Business Insider because it made me want to pay for the entire article. Business Insider is reporting that Floyd Mayweather could be facing money trouble, citing an estimated $54 million in debt, property foreclosures, multiple lawsuits piling up. Mayweather's attorney strongly denies he's any kind of financial distress, but the headlines aren't slowing down. $54 million alleged dollars in debt. So it makes sense why they would want.
When someone who publicly projects billionaire status ends up in court over a 7-figure jewelry bill, it raises obvious questions that the boxing world can't easily dismiss. People familiar with the situation suggest that although Mayweather may still hold significant value in property and long-term investments, the apparent shortage of readily available cash is putting him in a difficult position. As a result, speculation has grown that he may be forced either to offload high-value assets or step back into competition purely to secure another major payout.
Maybe more.
How does he owe you the money? Why don't you just like...
Here's what happened. He pre-sold the fight using my likeness to some company in, I think, Dubai or like the Middle East. This is my understanding of it, for $10 million cash. We ended up doing the fight in the States with a different company. That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash. It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He smoked me. So I got 15% of it. 15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. That company that paid him that money is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit. I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment. That I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
He just sold his house in Vegas.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I think he's facing a bunch.
Rinsed on that house. He started at $14 million.
Framed as a defense of boxing's credibility, De La Hoya has recently criticized Mayweather's ongoing exhibition fights, describing them as a humiliating and desperate attempt to secure money that, in his view, damages the value of an undefeated 50-0 record. During his Thursday commentary segments, the Golden Boy has repeatedly taken aim at what he sees as the spectacle bouts involving Tyson and the proposed rematch with Pacquiao. Some analysts argue these events are less about entertaining fans and more about financial obligations behind the scenes. He also suggested that Mayweather is accustomed to favorable control in professional settings, but in this situation, things have not gone in his favor, making the entire episode look increasingly damaging to his image.
Used to having the refs do whatever he wants, and he wasn't getting his way this time. It was so embarrassing. Floyd, you're 50 years old. You're a legend in the sport. I've stood up for you in countless interviews, including Shannon Sharp's podcast last week. But you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard. I know life is expensive. But come on, dude, put your legacy first. Nobody wants to remember you like this. And it gets worse. Your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this happen, bro. As I've always said, it's hard to make money, but it's even harder to keep it. Floyd, I'm rooting for you. Come on, let's turn it around.
If Mayweather were genuinely the top figure in boxing business success, he wouldn't be altering fight officials during rounds or appearing in partially filled venues in Mexico just to sustain income flow. To many observers, his shift from a dominant pay-per-view attraction to frequent exhibition appearances is being interpreted as a sign of serious financial strain, especially amid claims raised by a former associate. The situation was further stirred when 50 Cent posted, then quickly removed, a harsh accusation suggesting the former champion is short on funds and continuing to fight out of necessity. The music mogul, who previously had professional ties with Mayweather, has repeatedly questioned his financial stability, even alleging that his reported real estate holdings in New York may be exaggerated or not fully backed.
There's the Let's Get Floyd Back in Pocket campaign that goes on, where, you know, it's $300,000 chains being bought and buying the new Lamborghini and all these new things, and I'm sitting there going, yo, when you gonna give me the money?
Because you're already invested.
Right, like when you gonna give me your half of the money back. But I ain't trying to press him because he just got out of jail, right? So it's like, let him cool his heels before you.
Was that in the millions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you sitting there big, and I'm like, yo, so when, but see, the fighters are an asset in themselves. They are that talent, regardlessly. Right. You know, so I'm looking at him going, so there ain't no pressure there, but I'm saying, when is he gonna say he wants to, you know, to give me the other half of it? Why I gotta ask you for it?
Right.
And then when he,
are we talking over $2 million?
It's about that.
Oh, okay.
At that point, it was, you know, invested in.
All right.
So look, he goes, when he finally does bring up the actual the situation, he acted like he didn't know anything. Like, I didn't tell y'all to do that. I didn't tell you to do that.
Oh man.
And I'm looking at him, and he looked in my face and he tell me to do that.
How did it get to where we started reading just the tweets, because it seemed like that. Like, I would think that y'all could pick up the phone and say, "Hey, man, you know what's going down here," as opposed to, you know, I respect the shooter and fuck boys, and you know what I'm saying.
That's not Floyd. Floyd don't tweet.
Wow.
That's not him on Instagram. He got somebody next to him. See, everybody around him's codependent. So they're going to roll with what he...
The long-standing fallout between 50 Cent and Mayweather has consistently revolved around financial disputes. Now, with emerging reports of a $340 million fraud allegation tied to former business partners, alongside legal action involving Showtime, the money team's stability is increasingly being questioned, with some viewing the entire operation as gradually unraveling under mounting legal and financial pressure.
February 3rd, 2026, Floyd Mayweather filed a lawsuit in California against Showtime Networks and Steven Espinoza, claiming they helped his former advisor, Al Heyman, misappropriate a huge chunk of his fight earnings to the tune of $340 million. Mayweather says the money is still missing and unaccounted for, and he's now suing Showtime and Espinoza for aiding and abetting breach of fiduciary duty, civil conspiracy to commit fraud. Ooh, that's a serious accusation there. Conversion, unjust enrichment, and he's seeking punitive damage on top of the missing $340 million. So why is Floyd suing him, and what is he claiming? Well, Floyd argues that during his legendary career, where he generated $1 billion in revenue plus and pay-per-view money, a significant portion of the funds that he made through those events, through his fights, didn't make it into his hands because they were funneled through accounts controlled by his then advisor, Al Heyman. Now, Mayweather says that Showtime delivered those checks and funds through systems that helped Heyman get the money instead of paying Floyd directly. The lawsuit also points to some of boxing's biggest pay-per-view fights, including fights against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, events that generated hundreds of millions in revenue. Mayweather's legal team said he generated hundreds of millions in revenue for Showtime and now wants to recover what he claims was unfair.
Combat sports veteran Chael Sonnen has added fuel to the discussion by challenging the idea that Mayweather's wealth is being managed wisely. Known for his outspoken style, Sonnen argues that the unbeaten boxing star may have depleted his earnings at a pace that outstrips his income, pointing to a familiar pattern seen with many athletes who overspend while relying on investments that fail to generate strong returns.
And why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd Mayweather? Yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. Did they say can't read? That's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said that he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He was a guy. He grew up in a boxing channel, right? It's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. I didn't teach him about contracts. I didn't teach him about saving. I didn't teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke. He's a gambling addict. He got baby mamas all over the... What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question.
Sonnen's take introduces a more grounded angle, suggesting that in high-pressure promotional environments, financial figures are often exaggerated to preserve an image. He implies that when tax authorities and unpaid vendors enter the picture, even someone long regarded as the sharpest financial operator in sports could be confronting serious questions about the true state of his financial history and reputation.
Asking the question, look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face, the numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. Literally nobody. It's the same thing with boxing pay-per-view. Whatever boxing pay-per-view is the biggest boxing pay-per-view of all time, is just whoever put out the press release and lied more than the person before them. These have never been confirmed by leadership of a publicly traded company, who is the one that supplies the pay-per-view. It is illegal for them to lie. You have never heard Time Warner, you have never heard Cox, you never heard DirecTV, you have never heard an executive come out and confirm any of the absurd pay-per-view numbers that you believe to be true. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check? And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good and they made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic to Floyd. So Floyd is arguing that he was robbed by Showtime. That he had a deal that Showtime didn't argue. He's arguing this. And who's making that argument and where that goes? I'm just sharing, like, in public opinion, it's very hard to be sympathetic towards Floyd when Floyd, as a promoter...
This goes beyond the ring and turns into a question of influence and financial control. According to De La Hoya, Mayweather's renewed involvement in promotions and his continued association with younger, wealthy fighters isn't just networking. It's a strategy driven by financial pressure. With age and physical decline becoming unavoidable factors, De La Hoya frames it as a warning directed at an old rival, arguing that boxing eventually strips everything away, including accumulated wealth. He points back to his own late career defeat to Manny Pacquiao as an example of what happens when a fighter stays in too long. From his perspective, repeatedly returning for exhibition paydays to cover financial obligations could lead to consequences beyond money, including long-term health risks. He also suggests that maintaining the money identity demands not...
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Wow. I know you love money, right? I mean,
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
How did you get the nickname Money? Did you name yourself Money, or was somebody else?
They just started calling me it.
They just started calling it. You always have a lot of money with you.
A little bit.
Yeah, I have a picture of, this is from Instagram. You're on what looks like a private plane, just with a whole...
No, my private plane.
Your private plane, sorry. With a whole lot of money, and it looks like a couple of bowls of ketchup, maybe, also.
No.
Are you eating this money?
Those are cup holders.
Oh, those are cup holders, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't have a private plane.
You didn't flew on me.
What do you do with all this money? I mean, like, do you actually use it? I mean, are you using the cash?
And, you know, cash is king.
Do you have an ATM card?
I'm the human ATM.
How do you even get this much money? What do you do?
Work hard.
I know that. But, like, do you go to the bank and say, I need all of it? I want all of the money in your bank.
No, that's not what you do. You order it. You can order it.
Oh, you can?
And when you order a certain amount, when you order millions of dollars, a Brinks truck comes to your home.
Wow.
Yes.
Why not just drive around in one of those things?
I did at one particular time, I had a Brinks truck.
You did?
I sold it. Yeah.
Who'd you sell that to?
Another guy who loved money.
As claims of poor financial management and ongoing legal battles continue to surface, opinions within the boxing community are becoming increasingly split. The question being raised is whether Mayweather still deserves his money reputation, or whether he has become just another aging legend dealing with financial pressure. Between De La Hoya's accusations, 50 Cent's public criticism, and active court cases in Miami, his billionaire image is facing serious skepticism. At this point, the debate is open. Some believe these insiders are revealing hidden truths, while others think Mayweather is intentionally playing into controversy to boost attention and sell tickets for future exhibitions. The discussion remains unresolved over whether he is truly in financial trouble or still operating a calculated strategy behind the scenes.